Hi, welcome to another video with me. I'm Janet and I'm your host for today. Today we're going to talk about something that usually people don't really talk about, which is how does it feel when you're in the middle? As in, usually people will tell you stories about how they are going to start something or how something has already ended and they give you a reflection of what they have done retrospectively. But what about in the middle, when you're in the middle of everything? Like when you're in the middle of your transition. I don't think many people are comfortable with sharing what it feels like being in the middle because it sure is extremely uncomfortable. And so for my case, I'm going to share with you what is it like to be in the middle of it all. So basically, I have been in the same kind of career for about close to 2 decades, and now I've decided to move away from the industry. And the reason is because it is taking a toll on me physically and mentally, and I've also, through the midst of all the discovery, found out that I have complex post-traumatic stress disorder and probably ADHD as well, which I've shared in other videos. And so when this kind of thing happens, firstly, it's very difficult to tell anybody because how is it that you have lived your life for almost 4 decades and you finally or suddenly realize all these things? And that's the thing, right? Usually people only tell you like when things are better and then they look back and say, oh, during those difficult times I have to encounter all these kind of things, I overcome all these things, I went through all these things, I did this. The thing is, as honest as frank as I can be, I don't know what's gonna happen because like I said, I spend most of my life wondering what's up, what's going on, what's happening. And for most of the things, or basically all those years that has uh that has passed, is literally on survival mode. Like everything was more of like a what should we do today, what should we do today, what should we do today. And it's so and the time moved so fast, like everything just keep moving and moving and moving and moving and moving, and you just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, trying to get through every single day, trying to do the best that you can. Whatever that comes, you just try to put out the fire, and you think that doing all those things that you did was the way that you're supposed to live. And then finally you hit the wall and you cannot move forward with whatever methods or coping mechanisms that you have adopted over the years. It doesn't work anymore, and so you are suddenly in the middle of nowhere. If you continue, you know that you can't continue doing the same thing anymore, right? You can't continue doing the same things anymore, and now towards a new path, you can't really see what's that path leading you towards too. And so you're like in this limbo state, and you can't really tell anybody anything about it because in the first place, whatever that you have achieved, there were some kind of success. For you to suddenly pivot and just give up on every single thing and just like be in this I don't know what's going on state, I think a lot of people around you will not be able to accept this because why are you suddenly becoming like this? But what people don't know is that it's not sudden, right? It's not sudden. It's a build up. It's you trying so hard every single day, trying and trying and trying and trying and trying, and finally it's like you cannot go on anymore. So I don't know. I just feel like I really don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen. I mean, of course, I know that eventually things will get better, and day by day things are getting better. I am slowly aligning myself with things that I really like, things that I'm interested in, people who can connect with me. I'm not forcing anything or like trying to make things work. And of course, in any case, what is suffering or in a way a kind of sacrifice is that I'm sacrificing, I guess, money, because I'm not doing like a full-time job and I don't get that kind of salary. And of course that creates a lot of stress because like I have so many things to pay. But then at the same time, it's like I know if I continue doing whatever that I was doing, my mental health is just gonna like, you know, and then I'm just gonna continue wasting another decade or 2 decades, and then I'll be like almost 60 years old, and then what's gonna happen? I may not even have the stamina to go on anymore, right? And so I just want to share that if you also have if you also feel like you're in the middle of it and you don't feel like anyone is talking about this middle uncomfortable phase, then maybe that's the reason why I'm sharing this with you, because it is very, 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 very uncomfortable and scary and lonely, and your emotions is like a roller coaster. And also whenever you are a little bit more regulated, a lot of your repressed memories are starting to flow back. You're starting to see the fun things that happened in your life, and the sad things that happened in your life, many many little things that you have missed noticing, or kind of like, you know, storing them somewhere else, and all these things are slowly floating back up. You're finally understanding yourself much much more, and you realize that for the longest time you didn't really give yourself the attention that you needed. You didn't give yourself the love that you needed, the understanding that you needed, the space to just be and exist as you needed. You didn't even look at yourself. And of course, when that happens, there is a lot of like sadness and, you know, grief and all these things. And at the same time, feeling all these things is very difficult to share with anybody, because like I said, to many other people like your friends or your family, they'll be like, what's going on with you? Why are you suddenly like this? You have been doing so well for the longest time. You have been surviving well and you have been achieving things well. Why are you suddenly in this state? And I think a lot of times people will misunderstand and think that maybe it's some kind of existential crisis or like identity crisis or like a midlife crisis or something like that. No. If you are a person who have been like if you have some kind of like trauma or like unresolved trauma especially, or like some undiagnosed neurodivergence, then I think this existential or identity crisis thing is kind of like a constant in your life, right? I'm pretty sure that's how you've always been feeling. It's just that you have been, like I said, storing all these feelings aside, telling yourself that you are just too sensitive, overreacting, being dramatic, blah 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 blah, and everything that everyone that has around you have been telling you. Then you're overthinking and da 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 da, and then you take all these words and you kind of like drill it into your brain, and every single time when you feel this way, you just keep telling yourself the same thing that other people have been telling you. But now you are done with all these things. You know that life is just not a daily surviving kind of like path. It can't be that you just keep surviving and surviving and surviving. You need to stop doing so many things, or you need to approach your life in a different way. And like I said, this middle thing is so uncomfortable and it's so irritating. And there are times that you may think like, you know what, I think it's easier to do all those things that you have done before because it's so familiar and so much easier, and you just have to just keep doing all those things that you have been doing. I mean, you can, but then this cycle is just gonna repeat itself. So why not? Let's just go through this middle transitional period and try out things that you have never ever tried before. And I feel like that number one thing that you've never tried before is just to accept yourself for who you are, and to know that you may not be as productive and efficient as you were before. You may not be able to just swallow everything that you may not be happy with. Like, a lot of times you just try to tell yourself that I'm just being overactive, being oversensitive, blah blah blah, and you just take whatever bullshit that people give you. But now you start to feel like I'm not able to take all this bullshit anymore. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna speak up for myself and everything. And then that is where the discomfort is, because then people will start to think like, why are you being difficult? I'm not difficult. I was always over compensating, over giving, trying to be more understanding without even understanding myself. So that's why I say it's hard. It's very difficult. It's very challenging. It's very annoying. It's so unfamiliar, so uncomfortable, so uncertain, so irritating, so annoying. But it is. I guess this is the way to go for now. And I honestly really believe that once we get through this period, and to treat ourselves more kindly, with more compassion towards ourselves, and to empathize with ourselves a little bit more, I think things will really really change. And even though you may feel like things are not changing, but there are many tiny things that are like happening, and it takes time for the things in the past to kind of like go away. So it takes time, but as you make a different decision every single time from now onwards, the path of the past is slowly moving to a new path, which is more aligned with what you really want and who you really are. And so that's all I want to share. And if you resonate with what I say, like I say, this is the middle, and I don't even know what's my future gonna be like. Not even a clue. So yeah, let's just get through this thing together, whatever this is. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you resonate with me and you also are going through this very very messy middle ground, please share in the comments how you are feeling right now, and all the challenges and all the tiny little things that have been improving for you as well. And yeah, please share with me. And yeah, thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.